Alrighty. Okay, we are live streaming. We are live streaming into multiple places, and we love the fact that we've got people logged in from all over the world. So if you can, we'd love it if you'd do us a favor and tell us where you're watching us from. Having said that, we're going to give you a 30-second timer, which is your opportunity to make sure people are online if you've invited them. So we'll be back in a minute. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, please do us a favor, type in exactly where you're watching us from around the world. We're in 74 different countries, and we love the fact that we can have people all over the world on one event. Having said that, we're live streaming into multiple locations right now, not just in the Zoom room. And so some people may not speak fluent English. So I want you to know we have closed captions in the Zoom room live right now, where you can click a button to read in your language. And we do have on the playback on YouTube. So have a quick listen to this before we start.
Por favor, vaya a la parte inferior de la pantalla en Zoom o YouTube y haga clic en subtítulos para leer en español.
Kérlek, menj a képernyő aljára, a Zoomon vagy a YouTube-on, a Closed Caption részre, és ott el tudod olvasni magyarul a feliratot.
Silakan klik di layar bawah pada Zoom atau YouTube dan klik caption untuk membaca dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Pour les sous-titres en français, veuillez cliquer au bas de votre écran Zoom ou YouTube sur CC ou Closed Captions.
Zoom または YouTube の画面の下部に移動し、字幕をクリックして日本語で読んでください。
請到屏幕底部點閱隱藏字幕以閱讀中文。
Παρακαλώ πηγαίνετε στο κάτω μέρος της οθόνης, στο Zoom ή στο YouTube και κάντε κλικ στους υπότιτλους για να τα διαβάσετε στα ελληνικά.
請到屏幕底部點擊隱藏字幕以閱讀中文.
אנא עברו לתחתית המסך בזום וביוטיוב ולחצו על תרגום לכתוביות בעברית.
Proszę zejść na dół ekranu na Zoomie lub YouTubie i kliknąć napisy, żeby przeczytać.
I love hearing that every single time we get online because it tells us we are right around the world in so many languages, and the team speaks languages I don't even have a clue how to talk. So welcome online, everyone. Today, we are really blessed. This is our members night for the new members that don't know that. Every single week, we'll have a members night on this day at this time. And it gives our opportunity to maybe talk about training, maybe release some new information. So today, we're really blessed. We're going to be hearing from Dr. Jerry, one of our crowns. But before that, we're actually going to be hearing from Sergio de Mora, who is our Vice President of Sales. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Hey, thank you so much, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Thank you again, also you, Dr. Jerry, for taking the opportunity to host tonight's training. We're very excited to receive some wisdom this evening. And well, what can I say, Neumi family? We had a really good members night earlier today. We're starting something fresh and new. So you may have noticed we're doing a weekly update call every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And that's very quick. We just want to make sure you have the latest updates, whether it's regarding to sales, operations, anything worthwhile mentioning. We'll be updating that every Monday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So invite anyone that can join us for that. We're going to continue going strong with that. And Chris and Ryan will actually be hosting the next one, so don't miss out here on Neumi.tv. Now, talking about the event earlier, when Aaron and I were in Europe earlier this year, we were doing our best to connect with a lot of the members there. And there are just so many kind people. We met people from Latvia, from Lithuania. We went to France. We went to Hungary. We went to Romania. And we really enjoyed being out there with everyone. And of course, how can we forget, we were also in Warsaw, Poland. But one of the main aspects we brought home with us is how can we make our company more reachable, especially when we're having a lot of growth in Europe. And so we wanted to make sure that they began to at least have the one corporate Neumi call a month. So we're doing every first Wednesday of the month, we're hosting members night when it's our turn to put on the show for them as well, just earlier in the day. And we had a really good turnout. So I'm excited for this because one of the reasons why I said we were asking ourselves, how do we connect, is because there are so many languages. But thanks to many of our good members from all over the world, we have a lot of kind help with translations. And so today was kind of fun. We had interpreter rooms, and we also had some captions available like you do on this meeting. And so we'll remind you on that, but we didn't want to wait till April. We kicked it off today, even though it's not the first Wednesday of the month, and we'll be ready to do it again on April 2nd. Well, family, here we are very happy to talk about the results for so far. We're having a lot of good success with our Neumi promotion, the Blitz, the March Blitz. Today, as we were talking about some of the first week results, I can tell you that 25% of the qualifiers that will be getting paid that bonus this week are through customers, and the other 75%, they're through members. And why is that so great? Well, it's because the message I'm sharing with everyone when I talk to them, as you kick off the year, this is the opportunity for you to start building a solid foundation. And what better time than to take advantage of this wonderful promotion and at the same time thinking of good quality members who want to build a business. And that's my invitation to you. Take this opportunity to not only benefit from the promotion, but look for those people that are going to become solid foundations for your business. And I'm very happy to see the results, and I'll continue to follow those weekly. I'm going to go ahead and just take a moment to share something with you really quick. Give me 1 second, please. This is always the fun part, Michael, where you're a pro and I'm still learning on how to best share my screen. But here, give me just 1 second. And I'm going to share just something very special today that I think it's very important. Another highlight I want to share. All right, so just bear with me. I know you see my whole screen, but this is what I want to show you. All right. Perfect. So, well, it's a little frozen. My apologies, but here we go. Hello, Ratu. So why don't you take a moment with me to recognize some of these rank advances we had in February 2025. Just highlight some of these members worldwide. One of the fun things we're doing now is we are sending the digital certificates to the rank advancements directly to the inbox so they can have them, print them out, share them on social media. And it comes from the direct message from our CEO directly to their inboxes monthly. So those have been sent. And I know we're still working on getting some sent out last minute for just the last rank that we have, which I believe is senior member. But we want to take the opportunity to recognize all this hard work. Look at all these new members that joined recently, a lot of them, and they're already getting some ranks. Want to congratulate some of our 1-stars that qualified for the first time in February. We have some new 2-stars as well. And we also have 1 new 3-stars. So congratulations. I look forward to seeing more rank advancements each month, and we'll highlight and continue to offer you a much more better recognition experience, because for me, that's so important. I always talk about that. I won't get into it today because you heard me talk about it so much, but it's just something I take very seriously, and I'm glad we're on our way to recognize you for your hard work. So let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about this Blitz promotion, okay? It's very simple. Again, I told you what my challenge to you is. Take advantage to find those members that are going to take you to the next level. Just a quick reminder, if you can earn up to 40% on commissions, and these are paid out weekly. So we'll take out the 25% and replace it with the 40% during this promotion. It is available through the month end and available through April 6th. So don't miss out. All you need to do is enroll new members, or you can take advantage through customers. However, you cannot mix and match. So if you're trying to go, let's say for the first tier, make sure you have 3 customers or 3 members so that our system rewards you. So it's very important that you do not mix and match. You don't need to stop at 3. If you get 6 new enrollments per week, you will get 45% commissions on those enrollments. If you get 9 members or 9 customers in 1 week, you will get 50% on those enrollments. Now, you don't have to stop at 9. Let's say you're having a really good week, you're working really hard and just finding those people that you've been trying to bring on the business for some time, or maybe just someone that you just met that same day. You can take advantage of 50% commissions when you pass the 9 up to 15, okay? So it does cap at 15 enrollments per week. Now, if you get to that, anything remaining after that will just pay out on the traditional compensation plan. So we're excited to continue following this, and we know that you're going to have a lot of success with it. I'm very happy that as we're kicking off this new year, 2025, we've been able to support and partner with you as we have these promotions that are business driven. So having said that, Michael, I will turn the time back to you because I know we're all ready for what we're here for tonight, to learn.
Cool. I get the pleasure of introducing one of our crowns, and Dr. Jerry, who was introduced through Karen Justice, has an enormous team right over the world, and has also recently done an event on Karen's call, and popular demand. People are begging, can we see it again on this call? And that's why we're here today. So with that, I'm going to hand the call to Dr. Jerry. Over to you.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Sergio. Wow, Europe is rocking it. I can't believe all of the rank advancements all over Europe, and that speaks to you and Aaron going to Europe, Sergio. You really orchestrated some fire over there. You lit the fire.
No, thank you. It's all these wonderful members. You guys had the stars, and a lot of these wonderful members are from your team. So congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you, man. We really appreciate you, and I know that's travel these days is very trying. So thank you for doing that. That's awesome. Well, I really want to try to recall that call I did with Karen. I did pull up a couple of notes that I did take prior to the call that I did with Karen. And I always deviate a little bit because I never really entirely go off notes. I just kind of let the spirit flow. And I think the basis of that call was, what is our purpose? And I know Karen on that call actually started the call by saying we are a nutraceutical company, not a pharmaceutical company. And in so doing that, we recognize that we don't treat, we don't cure, we don't mitigate disease with our products. But what we do is we support the human body in a way so it can reflect that perfection that is in our own DNA. And that's why it's necessary, especially at this time in history, that there are companies, nutraceutical companies like Neumi, companies that actually we can turn to help us support health and wellness. And that is, I think, the foundation of what we need to know going into the world and sharing. We need to know what our place is and how powerful our message is. But on that call with Karen, I talked a little bit about the history and where it turned, really, in my opinion, it turned bad. And it turned bad because of the influence of money. Back at the end of the 1800s, the early 1900s, the first billionaires were appearing on the planet, literally. And one of them, John D. Rockefeller, he controlled 90% of the oil production in the United States. And he was the first billionaire in the United States and possibly in the world. And he wanted to control more industry. So he got his hands into media, and he went for pharmaceutical in a big way because it aligned it perfectly with where his real power was, which was oil. And pharmaceutical he saw as being a great avenue to release and build upon his chemical and oil industries. And so they really influenced Congress, they used the media and all of this to basically take over medicine and take over the AMA and take over medical schools, take over curriculum, even buying Congress off and getting them, it sounds a little bit like today, getting them to denounce and make illegal natural medicines. Natural medicine that was proven and stood the test of time for thousands of years was actually demonized and called quackery and was basically made illegal. Doctors were thrown into jail if they didn't fall in line with the new paradigm. Clinics and hospitals were shut down if they didn't, follow that very narrow approach to medicine. Basically, what they were doing was introducing patented substances literally that are foreign to our body. And one of the things that kind of turns me off about all of that and the progression of it was it didn't respect the divine inspiration the divine creation that this body is. This body is truly a miracle. And even today, with all of the scientific research that's been done, all of the investigations that have gone on throughout history that have been built one layer upon the next, we still don't fully understand all of the inner workings, all of the mechanisms of the human body. And when we introduce something to the human body that's foreign to it, I call it not smart, not intelligence. And what I mean by that is our body has an innate intelligence, an innate knowing of what to do. And traditional medicines always recognize that. Traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, all of the ancient medicines recognized the body was the key. The body was the miracle, and the body is the best instrument we have at striking that balance, of creating that balance and creating that wellness. So what really all of those ancient medicines did was support that normal function. And they had great results. In fact, in ancient China, if you got sick, you fired your doctor, and your doctor was further required to put up a flag saying that he had a patient that got sick so that people wouldn't go see that doctor. It was all about health and wellness and keeping people strong and healthy and well, because it was purely understanding the inner workings of this body and supporting that. And that deviation, what happened with that deviation? It wasn't positive, because if you look at where we've come from, health and wellness right now in this country, we spend way more money than any other industrialized country in the world. In fact, we spend more money than the top 10 other next companies combined. We spend $4.9 trillion in 2023. Trillion. 1 trillion is a million. It's a huge number. And we spent 4.9 trillion. That's $14,570 per person in the United States on healthcare. Somebody's spending my $15,000 because I didn't spend it. And what does that give us? You'd think, wow, the United States has the best wellness outcomes in the world because they're spending way more money than anybody else, but it's not true. We rank 48th in life expectancy. In fact, you could live longer if you lived in Panama, on average, according to the statistics. Panama, Albania, Czech Republic, Oman, Kuwait, we're just below all of those countries. The top countries are actually Hong Kong, Japan, and South Korea. And there's a lot of traditional medicine practiced in those countries. So there's still massive respect for this organism and bringing balance to this organism, to this person, to this individual, all the human beings, looking in there and seeing how we can support those functions. Infant mortality rate in the United States is one of the worst in the world. Infant mortality rates. You have a way better chance of your baby surviving childbirth if you're in a third world country than in the United States. So it's a very telling statistics. All of this is that we're doing something wrong. Something is not right here. But fortunately, these days it's turning around. I have a lot of friends, practicing doctors, very skilled physicians, and they know that there's a stranglehold on their profession. They know that the lobby, the medical and pharmaceutical lobby in Washington is 2 times that of the oil industry. It's the largest lobby in Washington. Most money changes hands from lobbies into the hands of people making laws, from people involved in the medical and pharmaceutical industries than any other industry in the world. So it's all about power. It's all about money. And that's what it's come down to. The money has been more important than actually health and wellness. And my doctor friends know that. And so they really want to get away from sickness care, because that's what it is. It's actually making a diagnosis and being held to the standard of care of that diagnosis, which is pharmaceutical care up to a point, and then possible surgical intervention. And if you look at the statistics of what's happening in the wellness arena, considered in this country compared with other countries, it's abysmal. So fortunately, we have, as a community of people, we have something that we can share that's part of that new paradigm. And doctors are recognizing the necessity for a new paradigm because they know what's happening, they can see what's happening, and it's even accelerated over the last few years. In fact, life expectancy is going backwards. And that's started to happen in the last, let's say, about 10 years. And it's been postulated that our children will not live as long as us. Our grandchildren could live only about 2/3 of how long we live if we continue this same trajectory. We're already, the life expectancy is going down, and it's already past where we were in 1999, because it always went up at the beginning of the last century. You know, breakthroughs in sanitation, etc., caused, you know, less disease to happen, and our life expectancy went up, 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 up. And then, you know, people became health aware, those kind of things, exercise, you know, good diet, those kind of things, it kind of stabilized out, going up. Now it's going backwards, and it's going backwards quite rapidly. So the demand for something to support the human being is great, just so you know that. So if you're talking to friends, you're talking to family members, you're talking to people that actually need to hear your message. I think that's the important thing to keep near and dear to your heart. You have something that people need to hear about. And that's the thing to remember, because that puts you on a mission, that you're part of a cutting edge mission to get out there in front of people and help them understand. So what is, you know, we have glutathione, and that's the huge attraction, was a huge attraction for me to come to Neumi. And you know, what is glutathione? What's it do? And we all know, and we've been to many calls with Stephen Scott, and we know it's the primary antioxidant. It's the most powerful antioxidant our body has, more powerful even than catalase and superoxide dismutase, the other ones that our body makes. It's a mucolytic, so if we're producing too much mucus, which is often the case, like let's say a sinus infection or allergies or something, it's a mucolytic, so it helps to clear that excess mucus. It helps to regulate immune system function. How does it do that? Well, it supports a huge support with liver function. And the liver produces the precursors for the second line of defense. But even the first line of defense, which is our membranes, you know how you spray your face and your face, you know, looks better and looks younger? Inside, the gut is a first line of defense. So it's the skin. All of the exterior barriers of our body are the first line of defense. Keeps bad things out, lets some of the good things in. So you want the gut doing that, and you want the gut healthy. Glutathione is very, very good for healthy gut function. The next thing that happens is if the gut's not healthy, now you overload the liver and you burden the immune system, because the immune system becomes active with the second line of defense, which are called macrophages. They're lymphocytes and leukocytes that gobble up the foreign things that manage to get through the gut or manage to sneak in through the barrier somehow. So you've got these things in your blood gobbling those up. Those become large molecules. This gobbling this is a large molecule that gets carried to where? The liver. So the liver has to break it down and get rid of the pieces and start over again, because it's the thing that creates the precursors for the things that gobble things up. So the liver is running overtime trying to produce enough of those kinds of things, and at the same time 600 total functions that the liver does, and running usually behind at what it's supposed to be doing. And if you're running behind or overworked, you don't do as good a job as you should. So in this country, livers are struggling. Well, the liver is the other organ that is very important and very valuable to have adequate glutathione levels. In fact, glutathione is most found in the liver of any liver cells, the hepatocytes. That's where you find most of the glutathione as opposed to other cells. So in the immune system, when the little gobble up things start running low, what happens is the body starts to realize it needs to send out the third line of defense. The third line of defense are T cells and B cells. They're made in the thymus gland, right here behind your sternum in your chest. They're manufactured there, but they're a unique thing, a T cell. they have the ability to recognize. So if there's enough reaction going on where they actually target the cell and kill it, if enough of that is happening, they will build a template for the protein of that particular invader. So now it doesn't have to build those, it just produces them, it just manufactures them. So it can produce a lot more, a lot faster. But if there's a lot of those things in the blood, what happens? Your T cells start running low. Now you have two of them. You have Th1 and Th2. Th1 is supported by glutathione. So if you don't have enough glutathione, then the T cell had the Th1 hands off to Th2 sooner. Th2 also has that same ability to recognize a pattern in a protein structure, but it's not as good at keeping the memory of it. So what happens is it might have a similar protein that it sees that thinks it's a foreign thing, but it's not. It's your own body's tissues. If it's a synovial membrane that it starts attacking, you come down with a diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis. If it's connective tissues that it's attacking, you come down with a diagnosis of scleroderma or lupus. If it's some part of your spinal cord that it's reacting to, you could come down with a diagnosis of Parkinson's or ALS or these other very serious neurological autoimmune diseases. If it's the thyroid gland it reacts to, that's Hashimoto's, or there's other syndromes as well. So we've seen the incidence of autoimmune disease increase by hundreds, and in some cases 1,000% since the mid last century. We've seen the incidence of things like autism and Alzheimer's and these kinds of things, cardiovascular diseases, cancers, metabolic disorders. All of these things are epidemic currently today. It's no wonder the life expectancy is going backwards. Our body is struggling to maintain the balance that it was created to maintain, that our DNA tells it to maintain. In fact, we produce less and less glutathione as we get older. However, the DNA doesn't say to do that. The DNA knows that we produce glutathione inside the cells. And we produce enough according to what we need because it's on a feedback loop. The body's constantly being told if there's not enough glutathione in a cell, it triggers the genes to build more. So you don't produce less and less as you get older. What happens? Why do we produce less and less? Because we live in the modern world. Back in ancient times, did people have to supplement glutathione? No. Because the heavy metal toxins weren't as pervasive as they are today. The forever chemicals weren't as pervasive as they are today. The things that block those genes, there's a series of genes, GCL genes, that actually build the glycine and glutamic acid and L-cysteine and put them all together to make glutathione. And those can become blocked by toxins. So what's in the world today? What's in our air, food, and water? Toxins. Another thing that can block those genes are deficiency of certain trace minerals. What's in our food? They lack trace minerals. So we live in a time where we have naturally run into a lot of compromise. And it's creating a big issue among so many things in our body. Our immune system runs at about half-mast because it's not getting the support it needs. Our guts tend to be leaky because of the food we eat and the glyphosates and the other toxins in the food. The livers tend to be overrun by all kinds of toxins. And so they're so busy that everything to do with the blood that the liver does, which includes hormone precursors, immune system precursors, enzymes, hormones, and getting the lipids right and cholesterol right and blood sugars right and all of those things, getting the viscosity right, your thickness, all of that. The liver just can't do what it was created to do. So we need companies like Neumi. We need companies that are nutraceutical companies that give us the tools to be able to survive in a world that has challenged us to such a high degree that our life expectancy is actually dropping like a rock. that diseases that weren't so common 20, 30 years ago are becoming epidemic. And so when you go out and talk with people, know in your heart that you have something that helps the body to maintain the balance that the body needs to maintain. And that is a great dispensation. That's something that is mission worthy. So, there's many ways to consider, when I train, I like people to get in touch with their why. If your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. And even if you look around the world and you see how many people are sick, if you look at other families or friends and you talk with people, you start finding out how many people are sick, and many of them seriously sick. You start to realize maybe a little bit why you found Neumi, a little bit why you were guided to be here. And if you act upon that, you're following that why. And that's my encouragement to all of you tonight, because this all is changing, and it has to. We've gone backwards in health and wellness for the last, let's say, 100 years. And right now we're at a precipice where we can go one way or the other. And it's people like you and it's people like this community that allow the leverage to go the right direction. So God bless you guys for being here. God bless you guys for continuing to go out there and fight day in and day out and share the good word about Neumi. So, Michael, that was probably a kind of a synopsis of where that call was I did with Karen, but it probably wasn't exact, but I don't do exact.
You know what? That was absolutely brilliant. I wasn't present at the call that you did with Karen, but I'm so glad I was on this one. That I don't know many people who could have covered it as well as you did, particularly because you are in the space you've been in all these years. So I think that's brilliant. It's the battle that's been going on for many years with pharmaceuticals. So thank you. I think this was a brilliant event. Type in the chat if you agree, guys. I think that was absolutely fantastic information. We have live streamed that onto YouTube on the channel, so you can play it back. And I think it's a valuable call to get lots of people to wake up and have a listen to where we're at. I love it. So as we know, we have a members night on this day every week. And so we have reached out to your diamonds in the diamond chat and asked them to give input on what they would like to be covered in the next 2 weeks. So the next 2 weeks will be training topics from the field as recommended by your diamonds, just so you know that we value their opinions and what they need to know. So if you think there's some training specifically for the new people that they need to hear, please tell your diamond, so your diamond can type it in the diamond chat, and that'll have an impact on the next 2 weeks of training. Having said that, of course, we will be, actually, I've got to check, do we have Steve tomorrow? We probably do. Hold that thought, check your app, and because I'm not sure, but he usually does pop up pretty much a couple of times a month now, which is great. So good morning, good afternoon.